It's Spicy Punk Rocker back with another video after a long ass time. Is anybody even there? Yeah, so I haven't posted a video in like 4 months, so I've probably killed any algorithm that my channel had. I'd be surprised if this video even gets like 100 views, whatever. I'm just here to explain where the hell I've been and why I haven't posted anything on my channel in 4 months. So I'm going to kind of be, this video is going to have some few sections. One, this video has no script. I'm just talking right off the cuff. All right, just a total vlog style, off the dome type video. So this is the point in the video to where people that actually were followers of my channel that watch me for like, you know, guitar and spicy challenges and stuff, you probably are going to want to just tune out the rest of this because this is more of a vlog video explaining where I've been, and more from this point of the video forward is where I kind of get more into like the tech side, basically for the people who click this video that work in the tech field. And I'm probably going to sound like I'm talking Chinese or jargon. So anyway, hey, if you're a follower of mine and you're just here to support me back on YouTube, I love you. Thank you for clicking this video. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up if you want. And I'll be back with some regular content. Actually, my next video, I'm probably going to play guitar to a whole album blindfolded. Seriously. So, all right, I'm going to enter a different kind of mode here. Oh, hi. Hi, tech person who clicked this video. That's probably the first time you see me on YouTube. Yeah, so you want to know about the CCSP, the Certified Cloud Security Professional Exam by ISC Squared. Yeah, I passed it, but I'm going to give you really what helped me pass it, what I can pass on to anybody who's trying to take this exam. Yeah, as you heard in the beginning, it took me like months, probably like half a year of studying. I failed it once, but I did pass it the second time. Let me give you some tips from someone who's passed it if you're trying to pass this, of what I think is going to help, okay? My background. So I've been in the tech industry for about going on 10 years now. During my tenure there so far, so I do have some previous certs. I do have Network Plus, Security Plus, Project Plus, all still currently active. And then there's like a bunch of other vendor certs that I got that they're good and all, but they're like firewall vendor certs and Azure, and they're already expired anyway. But from a foundational level in IT, you know, I do have that. So this was actually my first ISC Squared exam that my boss wanted me to tackle. So no, I have not taken the CISP or CISSP. You're going to see a lot of different people that kind of try to. There's such a range of what people say helps. They say, oh, you should take the CISP first before you take the CCSP. Or, you know, you got to take one or the other. Which one's harder? Which one's not? It's all subjective. It really, really is. I can tell you I have a coworker who first got his CCSP, and then he got the CISP after. And he actually found the CCSP to be harder. I've been hearing that a lot lately. It seems like a lot of folks lately have been saying they found the CCSP harder than the CISP, which is kind of interesting given how CISP is a lot more content, but I think I know why, and I'll kind of get into that, why that's happening. But yes, traditionally when I took my other Comptia exams, I usually just had to read one book, just the all-in-one book. They're all kind of there. I don't know if you can see my bookshelf, but you can kind of see the all-in-one books for like Security and Network Plus and Project and whatever. I usually just had to read those once, and my on-job training combined with that, it was usually pretty much enough, you know, and obviously some other sources, you know, maybe Udemy or a YouTube video or Professor Messer, he was good for the CompTIAs. But ISC2 is just kind of a whole other caliber. They're a whole other class. You know, I find CompTIA is just kind of more, you know, what is this? A, B, C, D, where ICS Squared is a lot more open-ended, a lot more holistic. It's really, definitely is kind of more of a managerial exam where you pick the best answer, not necessarily what's the correct answer. Anyway, so I followed my same format at first for the CCSP exam. I just read, you know, the all-in-one. So I just, okay, oh, cool, I recognize these books, these little gold brown books, all-in-one. So I read that cover to cover, watched a video, what's his name? Peter Ziegler, his CCSP exam cram, great resource. But usually it's been all-in-one in a video. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, you should really read the official study guide. But I didn't think I had to because I'm like, oh, historically, I just did all-in-one in a video. I should be fine. Wow. My wife told me to go check out ISC Squared's official website because on their website, they actually have like a little 10-question quiz that says, are you prepared for the exam? I'm glad that they have that because in that little 10-question quiz, they actually those questions in the quiz are pretty much framed with what you're likely going to see in the exam. Not obviously the same questions, but the kind of the ISC Squared style of writing, right? So you have like this big long question, all answers that are probably correct, but what is the best answer? And you got to really have a deep knowledge to know what is the best answer. So I saw that and I was like, whoa, I better start studying more. Anyway, I was kind of like, you know what? I'm just going to bite the bullet. I'm going to take the exam. I'm probably not going to pass. I'll try my absolute best. I will try to pass. And because I to this point, I've never failed IT certification exam before. It's always been first time attempt, first time obtained. But with this one, I'm like, yeah, I more was like, it's expensive. It's like $600 to schedule the exam, but I was going to give it a shot. And I'm like, at the very least, if I fail, I'll at least kind of have an idea of what kind of questions they're going to ask. Not necessarily memorizing the questions because they have a huge bank, but at least the style of ISC Squared writing, Anyway, so I went and took it the first time, $600. My employer, they will not reimburse me for any tests scheduled unless I pass. So there's a lot of pressure, right? There's definitely some mental aspects to this. Anyway, yeah, so I kind of think that I attributed to why I failed this exam the first time because I just put way too much pressure on myself. I mean, there's a lot to be said about being mentally ready when you take this exam. As you guys probably know, it's 150 questions, 4 hours. 50 out of the 150 questions are not scored against you on the exam. They're like pre-beta test questions. I found later, don't let that mentally affect you. It just answer every question the best you can. Don't try to be like, oh, maybe this is should I not worry about this one as much because it's a pre-beta question? Like, don't do that. Just don't even let it trip you up. So I think mentally, I just put way too much pressure on myself. I was like freaking out. I literally was watching YouTube videos of like meditation of how to like get rid of test anxiety. I also didn't just really know how to properly take a multiple choice exam tests. There really is an art form to this stuff, truly. It's like a muscle you have to kind of work out and get better at. I'm going to get more into that later. So yeah, I took the exam, didn't do good. I had like two above proficiency, 2 near, and 2 below, right? Nowhere near enough to pass the exam. It sucked. I mean, I had people like praying that I was going to pass it, and it just, anyone who's failed this exam to lose $600 when you fail, it's not fun. I was definitely had to take a couple days to just kind of like mentally recenter myself because it really sucked. But, in life, you fail forward, right? Like if you fail, you want to fail forward. So eventually I kind of got off my little pity party and just got back in the saddle, and I learned a lot from failing, and I was, I've chalked it up as part of the journey. So anybody who's like really thinks is a daunting thing, if you fail, it's okay. It's part of the journey, right? Like some people get it their first try, some might get it their second, third try. Yes, it's expensive, but we have the rest of our life to get this exam if you really want to get it. So yeah, just one tip is mentally, don't put a lot of pressure on yourself. When I went to go take it the second time, I actually didn't really barely tell anybody I was taking it. I didn't even tell my employer. I just took the day off and I was like, yeah, I got a family in town and blah, blah, and I didn't tell anybody. I didn't have anybody like do these big prayers for me. I mean, prayer works. I'm a big Christian, and of course I prayed myself, but at the end of the day, if you don't know, you don't know. Like if you're not ready, you're not ready. God will give us the shovel, but he's not gonna just start magically digging the holes themselves. Like the rules just don't work that way. Anyway, so on the second go around, when I had those questions, I found, and this is really take some notes here. If you want, at least in 2024, if you want to pass the CCSP, in my experience, you have to have a very deep knowledge of the material. In my opinion, a deep knowledge. This means multiple study resources, not just the all-in-one, but I picked up and also did the official study guide. So I read through the study guide cover to cover. I did the test bank, right? They have the 1,000 whatever question practice test bank on the study guide. Now those questions on the study guide like are kind of crap. I mean, they're not even okay. They're good. I mean, but don't expect that to be anywhere near the level of questions you get on the real exam. Like they're more kind of like Comptia style, just like, hey, here's this, what is this? Here's this, what is this? Like none of them are actually like the real ISC squared exam questions where it's like, what is the best answer? What's the best? What best, most, least, worst? Like, yeah. Also, really look at there's a partnership between ISC Squared and CSA, the Cloud Security Alliance. So I picked up, I was looking on Reddit and people were saying to read this. CSA Cloud Security Alliance, critical areas of focus of cloud computing. No, seriously, like I read this cover to cover. You can get it online, it's free, but that was a huge help. Dude, the more you really have to immerse yourself like deeply, man. I basically turned off any kind of like personal stuff I had going on at the time, personal projects, one being my YouTube channel. I mean, I didn't do nothing on my YouTube channel. I barely did any band practice. I didn't play much any video games. I really just kind of immersed myself in this. Because in my mind, you really have to, man. I mean, they're certifying that you're a certified cloud security professional by a very, very reputable international company. I mean, they need to uphold their own reputation, right? So they're not going to make this easy, which I understand. So CSA, also Gwen Betty, I cannot sing her praises enough, Gwen Betty. So she had a lot to play in the Pocket Prep mobile app. So I very much got into Pocket Prep. Went through pretty much all the questions there. So shout out Gwen Betty. I actually even I've talked to her in person. Like I actually booked a Zoom call with her when I failed. And, I had a discussion with her over Zoom, like why I think I failed. She gave me a lot of resources. One of them being that CSA resource. I even have this giant notebook here from Gwen. I mean, literally, this is all stuff from Gwen that she had me like print out. I mean, that's a pretty hefty amount of material, right? You can even see her name. It's Gwen Betty Recommended Readings. It's not just reading one resource or the study guide. Oh, you're good. I mean, you got to really immerse yourself. I also took Gwen's Udemy course, the recording of her CCSP 6-domain Udemy course. So I watched that in entirety. Really, really good supplement. I think videos are a really good supplement to reading material. I think they kind of go well in tandem. That was a huge, huge help. I mean, I recommend strongly Gwen's Udemy course. Again, Pete Ziegler, really, really good video resource as well. But for me, like I said, I couldn't just go off one or two. I had to have multiple of these resources. LearnZ app. That LearnZ app, I think is a really good resource because they have like annoying questions. Like they have questions that are frustrating. Not even that they're hard. They're just like it's a good mental exercise because with LearnZ app, they give you questions that are, for the CCSP, and it's like, oh, I know the answer to that, but then all the multiple choices you have, I found a lot of them were either just like they're all bad answer, like actually, it's like, yeah, what's the best answer, and like they're all kind of like almost wrong, but you got to pick it, or they have. It's hard to explain. It's something you just are gonna kind of know when you pick up the LearnZ app. The LearnZ app has a huge question bank. So of course you're going to have your typical like, oh, easy, just definition. What is this question? But I think the LearnZ app was good from getting used to taking kind of frustrating questions. Again, like not so much in difficulty of knowledge, but just comprehension, like comprehending. That's another thing is like English literature, reading comprehension. Oh my gosh, dude, this exam, keep in mind, it's international based, right? So there's going to be some questions where it may not, they kind of purposely write the questions obtuse because, well, one, they need to protect against brain dumps, right? If they made the questions like, hey, listen, they're easy to remember. People are going to just brain dump it. So yeah, they need to write the questions very long, obtuse, and just kind of like odd and use superfluous, what's the word I'm looking for? Superfluous, verbose, odd types way of structuring words and like vocabulary words that you don't really see very often, like to prevent against that. But make sure you really know your stuff, right? Like it's definitely a reading comprehension exam. hands down, probably the best resource I did also was the 50 hard CCSP questions. Dude, that was like, I actually saved that one for last because I heard a lot of people saying like, dude, this is like the holy grail videos for ISC squared exams, because dude, he really does get into the, like, I think it's tactical security is his, what he runs, but he really gets into the mindset that you have to be in when you answer ISC squared type questions. You pick the most encompassing answer. You pick the answer where if you can only pick one, you can't do the others. What are you going to pick? Dude, if you're going to take this exam, watch the video. But me personally, I saved it for the very last. I actually watched it like the day before. Anyway, so I just immersed myself in material for months and months. Some other stuff I did Whiz Labs exam something. I forgot the website, but dude, ChatGPT. If there's ever anything I didn't understand, I'll just ask a question to ChatGPT. You do got to take it with a grain of salt sometimes, but I found most of the time, as long as you frame the questions right, ChatGPT was kind of a nice little quick just kind of like on the fly, a quick little like knowledge, just a kind of quick way to like check something and be like, hey, what's this? And it gives you a good starting spot to kind of for information, or just will tell you exactly what you're looking for. But no, I actually use ChatGPT like almost every day. Like it was a good resource. What else? So yeah, and then like I said with Gwen, she really gets into how to take exams. Like you can check out her YouTube channel. She's gets into just really not just knowledge for taking these exams, but just test taking skills. So you can never take enough practice tests. With Pocket Prep, they did something to where they kind of made like a little gamification or game. I'm a gamer, so it kind of worked out fun for me. Where it's like a recent update to the Pocket Prep app at the time of this recording. You should check it out. You basically have like these levels, and you like start easy and you get harder. It's not like cat adaptive, but it's linear. But you know, it's like, oh, level 1, easy questions, level 2, and broken up into the 6 different domains. And if you can answer enough questions, you get to level 2, level 3, and it's like a little video game. And that was actually pretty good too. The more you, like Gwen says, the more you know, the easier the exam gets. You can never know enough. If, like a lot of people say, if there's domains you have a hard time in, focus on those. But everybody's different. You know, a lot of people are going to say, oh, schedule your exam way ahead of time. I didn't do that. Me personally, that doesn't work for me. I'm more the person where I'm only going to schedule. Let me put it this way. I don't do good with pressure, bro. Like less pressure, the better. I feel like if I schedule it ahead of time, it's like this daunting date that's always in my subconscious that's kind of creeping up. I only schedule the exam when I'm ready. I mean, at least in my neck of the woods, I would check on available test centers, and they're all, you know, I live around a lot of, I didn't really have a problem with finding an available test center. Like I just picked one. Every time I would check, I could have a date that wasn't really too far off from where I needed. So I only scheduled when I felt like I was ready to take it. So speaking of test centers, find a good test center. I mean, to me, it made a big difference. The first test center I did was in a big metropolitan urban area. I'm not joking. Like I got there like 8 a.m. It was super loud, crowded. They literally had construction going on outside, and there's like conversations happening in a neighboring wall I could overhear. I don't like wearing the headphones because they're tight on my head, and I personally don't like stuff in my ears, like the earplugs. It just kind of like subconsciously distracts me. And so there was like a full test room, and people were like heavy sighing and like, oh, and it just crowded, and it was distracting. So anyway, the first test center, I'm like, I'm not doing this test center again. The second time I scheduled it, I did a much smaller test center, which really helped a lot. It was a lot quieter. And that's the other thing too, is before you do schedule this exam, I cannot stress enough, really, really, really simulate like the testing environment at home in your own private time. Again, this is a 150 question exam. So one thing that helped me a lot is I would lock myself in my office here, and whether it's Whiz Labs or Pocket Prep or just a myriad of things that have practice tests for this exam, boot it up to 150 questions and time yourself for 4 hours and just pretend, like just get used to taking 150 questions in 4 hours, right? I mean, half the battle, half the difficulty is just endurance, mental endurance. Make sure you're in good health. You're rested up. You drink water. Eat healthy. Don't run to McDonald's the day before and get bloated, bro. Like, just all these things, man. So what this is crazy. So when I scheduled the second attempt of this exam, I'm not joking. I swear I'm not joking. I was studying. I had no intention of scheduling it, but I'm like going through all my studying in the whiz labs and just, I was so immersed in this material. I mean, it kind of took over my life. My wife was getting kind of pissed off at me. She's like, when do I get my husband back? I'm like, it's almost done. I promise. There's just a point where it's just, when you kind of know, I kind of just, when you feel it, when you know, and I knew, and I'm like, I just knew I had so much of this material deep enough in my head that I'm like, pardon my French, but fuck it. I'm going to schedule this exam tomorrow. And I peeked, and there was a scheduling tomorrow at a small test center. And I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I just finished a 150 question little practice test. I did all right. Also pick tests that are hard, right? Like, anyway, so I'm like, I'm just going to schedule this tomorrow. I did. I told my wife, I'm like, hey, just kind of ad hoc, but I'm going to schedule this tomorrow. Screw it. Because I had the day off tomorrow anyway, right? So I'm like, okay. As long as you feel like you're ready to do it. So I did it, and that morning, I'm not joking. So I scheduled my exam the second time in the afternoon, so like 2 p.m. in the afternoon. That morning is when I watched purposely for the first time, just so it's so fresh in my head, the 50 hard CCSP questions. And again, you're thinking CCSP, it's not so, first of all, there's a lot of overlap. I mean, I was actually surprised at how much overlap there is between the two certifications. There really is. So you'll find a lot of the same style of questions in CISP, probably on the CCSP, obviously minus the cloud-centric stuff. But that video is a game. I couldn't have done it without that video, but I couldn't have done it without all the other stuff too. But that morning I watched in its entirety the full 50-question coffee shot practice way of how to tackle those type of questions, how to pick the best answer, what that means, how to think like a manager for real. Obviously, you're going to get just straight up technical questions. It's not like every question is like a manager answer. Like there's this, you got to know it all. It takes a deep level. So I went on to the exam. Game day. Let's talk about exam day. Game day. This is an insane story, bro. So I get there. I start the exam. And on the upper right, they tell you in minutes, it's like 240 minutes left. And for whatever reason, my brain just didn't quite make like, I don't know. I looked at the number like 240 minutes. I'm like, okay, it wasn't like 358, 352, 232. It's like in minutes, like 200 or 180 minutes left. So I got like halfway done, right? I'm like question 75. And, dude, it said I had 100 minutes left, and my brain didn't I was so kind of like in the zone. I didn't really stop to think like, I'm halfway through the test, and I'm like, 100 versus 75. Like I'm already kind of dyslexic to begin with already. And I'm like, okay, so I have 100 minutes, and I only got 75 questions left. And I'm like, and then all of a sudden it hit me like a bag of bricks. I'm like, bro, your time is half done. So it dawned on me, I'm like, okay, dude, I'm halfway through this exam and I have less than the time left to take it. So I freaked out. I'm like, and I heard if you don't finish the exam on time, you're like really pushing your luck to pass it, like really pushing your luck. Like you're probably at a 90% plus chance of failing if you don't take every question. So, sorry, my coworker messaged me something funny here. Anyway, so I had to pedal to the freaking metal, and that's one thing I didn't this, you cannot take too long on a question. Yes, it's like 4 hours, you can take a minute, and dude, I was taking too long. Like, I'm like, oh, they really understand these questions. I was taking like 5 minutes on certain questions, and I'm like, and I'm glad I did. I mean, they're hard questions. Keep in mind, every question is weighted differently. So this isn't like a conventional, like, I got to get 70% in this linear exam, like correct, like, so this many out of 150. No. It's, dude, some questions that are easier are weighted more points than others. Obviously, there's a lot of proprietary things they do in their grading that is, they're not going to tell us, and that's whatever. But I do, yeah, they are public that some questions are weighted more than others, probably the harder ones, right? So I'm glad I kind of took my time on those hard ones, but I took too much time because it just, like I said, halfway, I'm like, oh shit, I got to go fast. So I just started speeding speed reading, which is such a bad thing to do. But I had no choice. I'm like, fuck it. So I just start speed reading super fast because I'm like, dude, I gotta like get. If there's questions that were kind of easy and I knew the answer, I'm like, next. I mean, I was probably going so fast on certain questions. Like, I was like low key hoping I wasn't getting flagged by like whatever algorithm they got that is like, is this dude cheating? Like, why did he answer that one so fast? Like, that's odd. Like, I had no choice. Anyway, they do the whole psychometric, whatever. Sorry. So I'm like speed reading and I'm like trying to like, I'm like, dude, answer quick as you can. Like, these are really hard, but I'm running out of time. I finished all 150 questions. I'm not joking. 2 minutes to spare. Yeah, 2 minutes to spare. I did not think I passed because I'm like, bro, I rushed way too hard. But I gave it my best shot, right? And one thing I will say is all the additional studying that I did, I'm talking like, dude, hardware abstraction, COBIT, risk management framework, NIST, ISOs. You don't need to memorize all the numbers of ISO, right? I mean, Gwen will tell you that, but it's, it does, at least just know like the main ones, right? Like anyway, the main ones. What's the other one? See, I'm already forgetting this stuff. Anyway, but my point is the extra studying that I did help because I'm like, after I did all the extra studying, most of the questions, there was like a lot less just reading Chinese questions, right? Like first time I took it, I'm like, I don't know. I'd never seen that. I don't know. Second time, I'm like, oh yeah, like 90%. Like it was hard. It was really hard, but I'm like, at least I know what I'm reading, There were a couple questions where the grammar was off a little bit. I mean, it just, there was like, I think I had one where like it was missing a whole word and I kind of had to like, oh, okay, well, obviously it's almost a typo and it's such a big bank of questions. Like there is kind of a little Russian wheel or a little roulette wheel of like a dartboard of luck. There is. I mean, some people are gonna get a harder test bank of questions than others, right? I mean, it's just, and they're all very, very, very varied, bro. Like this, dude, you could take one concept and IC squared will just spin like 1,000 different questions under one concept. I mean, they can go deep. Some things were just tribal knowledge that I didn't get from like any studying resources of just kind of from on the job, like being in the field. It ain't easy. So I didn't think I passed. And they handed me the piece of paper. I did not look at it because I wanted to mentally prepare myself. I kind of walked out the door. I'm really glad they give you the piece of paper that's like flipped upside down. And I'm like, but I could see through the paper. And I'm like, when I saw through it, there was like a lot of text, like a lot of words. And I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, but I walked outside, I flipped over the piece of paper and I saw the word congratulations. And I'm just like, wow. The several months, I cannot tell you, it changed. It made it all worth it, dude. The studying was absolute hell. But that moment, getting that piece of paper, saying that I passed, the confidence in my career, where it's already taken me in my career, it's like the little cap and gown graduation, bro. Like getting a professional level exam from ISC squared, such a good feeling. Anybody, if you're watching this and you're going to the grits studying and you think it's not worth it, if anything, even if just for personal enrichment, if you don't get some big Uncle Sam dollars from this stuff, it's at least internally the vote of confidence it gives you and boost to your character and humility too, man. Not like you get a chip on your shoulder like, oh, look at me, I'm ISC squared. They're a great company, man. Like they have like their code of ethics, and we're here to kind of serve the other people, to be of service to others, and to like secure the cybersecurity world, not to use it nefariously. Like you get a graduation in character, at least for me it did, man. So I called the wife, called family, we're all happy and celebrating. It was awesome, and it can be done. And just don't give up. But it's not an exam to be taken lightly, at least for me, right? And I read a lot of people or watched videos and seen people that think it was the harder of the exam. I don't know. Just for fun, I went to the CSP and kind of looked at some practice questions off the CSP, and yeah, some of them where I'm like, yeah, dude, I feel like I'm taking the same thing. Like there's so much overlap. And CCSP in some sense feels kind of more technical, where CISP is like just like, think like a manager all the way through. And I don't know, that's going to be the next one I take. So I'll make a vlog when I, attempt for that one. But hopefully me rambling my ass off with no script. I mean, like I said, I'd be shocked if this video gets 100 views or something, dude. Like, I might be talking to the freaking abyss, but if anybody watched this video and you're looking to take the CCSP, drop a comment down below. Let me know where you're at. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Let me know if you feel like this video helped in any way. But if anything, just know it can be done. And just don't give up. Fail forward. Like you're gonna be okay. Just do the work, and it's all worth it in the end. So anyway, God bless. I'll catch you later. Peace.